Hello, Apps here from Dimp Digital. Welcome to this yet unnamed podcast production. I'm joined by the one, the only, Tom Adkins, not Adcock. How's it going?
I'm very well. Taking a little time off my sabbatical.
Yeah, fucking been on sabbatical, the cunt. He has. Left us in the lurch. 3 months it's been.
3 months. I was like the McGregor again. See, I got beat, laid down for 3 months, and now I'm already posing the comeback. This is the big comeback.
It is. The last thing we did, or that you was on the sort of Dimp stuff for, was the big fat E3 roundup. Over 3 hours of babble. And maybe that's what tied you. That was this year we did it. We did it for 2 years running.
Oh yeah, we did. Yeah, it was the 3 hour. Cool. Was that the last thing we did?
Yeah, since this. Well,
what about Endgame? Did we do an Endgame review or?
Oh fuck! Did we? Yeah, we did.
Was that after or before?
Oh, you know what? I can't remember because what was it?
That might be
June?
May actually.
Yeah, because it came out end of April, didn't it?
Yeah, it did. Oh, so yes, that must have been cool. So
we got criticised for not knowing what we were talking about.
Oh yeah,
get your memories.
Knowledge. We're
costing us.
We are jam-packed with fucking knowledge today.
Well, we'll see about that. But people have been asking what you've been up to, whether you've gone back to the opium.
Well, I have. I've just been on pretty much since E3. Once, what was the biggest thing that got on there? Cyberpunk. Once,
yeah.
Once I saw some Cyberpunk, I just thought, well,
Keanu Reeves, that was it.
Just take heroin until then, and
it'll come around quickly.
It'll come around quickly, yeah. So I have just been on an absolute binge since then, and I haven't even touched a game.
No, well,
no, I haven't been hugely. I've been living the dad gamer life, but there's been some games completed.
Yeah, I mean, we'll at the end. I want to go through your list of completed games for the year because it's always interesting. Or maybe we'll save it for the end of the year and get the full list. But
get fucking full bad boy.
But I think there was a time, especially after the summer. Like I didn't do much in terms of games. I just sort of fell away. And
we were talking, weren't we? We was talking about this lull we had because we had it last year after God of War. Or was it God of War or Red Dead?
Yeah, no, it's God of War.
It was God of War, wasn't it? And just nothing clicked, and you're just like,
I don't think it's done that this year. I don't know if there was a game that did it. It just sort of phased off.
No, maybe. I think, no, that was early on, Resident Evil.
Yeah.
I think it's something as powerful as God of War. But no, it just sort of, I don't know. I sort of go through waves of wanting to watch films, then go through wanting to watch series, and then playing games. So I sort of cycle through the motions, and there was a big gap from gaming. Couldn't even be bothered. But games had started to come out. We're in the heavy season now. Fucking games every week.
Yeah, and from now to the end of the year, if you can't find something to play, then you can get out the kitchen because there is all sorts coming out, and it probably won't stop in 2020 either in the early parts. Maybe January will be a bit quiet, but by the time March rolls around, Watch Dogs 3 will be out. Then you've got Cyberpunk.
Sure.
It's going to be a real kick-off again at the start of the year. I thought I'd give you the choice of trying to name this new... Well, it's not new, but just to name these sort of podcasts where we talk about... We don't review things formally, but we just talk about stuff that we've been playing and maybe haven't finished and whatnot. I counted 2 names to see if you like either of them. It can be either called just the standard, which is like the game club or the gaming club, sort of like a book club. Sort of people come here and go,
that's quite good,
been playing this. Or the gaming express.
Oh, sounds very philosophical.
So you can
that's more of a formal event. This is where we put on our suits and talk about games.
Yeah.
After a nice scotch.
I don't like scotch anymore.
Nah?
Wow. I don't know.
Johnsons are fucking ruined there.
They do. The Johnsons do get through them. I mean, I've had it a few times and I thought, they still taste like AIDS. Like, it's still burning my throat.
Have you had an old-fashioned? It's like a bit of orange, pretty much, and some bitters or something. But yeah, it's supposed to be a jazzed-up whiskey. It just tastes like fucking whiskey. It burns your throat.
It still burns your throat.
Puts hairs on your chest. That's about it.
Oh, there you go. You've got to make that choice live.
I like the first one better.
The Game Club.
The Game Club, yeah.
Or the Gaming Club, which one?
The Game Club, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good, done.
I like the idea. Second one's pretty good, but it sounds too formal, and I think we like to throw a fuck in the air every now and again.
Yeah. Well, the Gaming Express is sort of a play on the old tag team, the Midnight Express.
Ah, Oh, I see.
But the Game Club is what I originally had in my head years ago and never formalised it. So
Copyright trademark that bad boy.
yeah, TGC sort of have our own.
TGC 2019.
Yeah, absolutely. We're here to talk about quite a few games. Spoilers are on the table. So, I mean, we're going to talk about the Gears 5 campaign first, which we'll go in depth in that. So that'll be everything, ending, story, mechanics, the lot. So if you ain't finished it, then get out. Or if you haven't and you don't care, then stick around and you can listen. Or just save it for another week when you have done it. The other games that we talk about, I don't think we finished the campaigns for. But, you know, we may say something and you might be like, oh, I didn't want to know that. But it won't be a fucking... Well, be warned, because we've had Biff on reviews letting slip 50-hour fucking revelations into games and saying, well, I didn't think what I was saying. So he's in the bad books for some people. But Gears 5, not Gears of War 5.
No, streamlined. Said that they're going to make a whole friend. They've got other games coming out. They've got one other fucking game coming out. Why have you changed it?
Well, yeah, I mean...
Fucking pop shit.
I don't understand this name change. I wonder if it's because of God of War. They didn't want to compete with the juggernaut of GOW.
Well, I don't know, this was just a rumour, but someone told me that they wanted to take away the of war because of all this shit about violence in games and stuff.
You're chainsawing people in half, isn't it?
Exactly. But that would be a very piss poor excuse if they did. To be fair, I think I do tend to call it Gears.
Oh, everyone does. Yeah,
but,
everyone calls it Gears.
But it's of war. Keep it.
What they should have done is called it Gears and not put the 5 at the end.
Yeah.
And then said this is like a new franchise. Like, we got our feet wet with Gears of War 4. And now Gears, we know what we're doing now. Gears is going to be like the same...
In live service.
Yeah.
Like Destiny stuff.
Oh, no, imagine that.
I did wonder that if they'd do that, but adding like fucking gear score and turning it into a bit more of an RPG.
Yeah, they could do that. I guess that's one way they could take it. I think they've saved most of that for the multiplayer stuff, which we haven't played. So I won't be commenting on that, but I know that there's... you can pick up all sorts of items and you unlock characters and stuff as well, which I think have certain buffs and whatnot. I won't bumble too much because I don't really know. I haven't played it yet, but hoping that at some point we'll get a full review out, and I'm trying to get Hall to do it because he's sort of the Gears connoisseur, but unfortunately he's decided to play the campaign on Insane, so he's going to be... I think Logan's one of his partners, so that's going to set him back. If it's taking 10 hours, normally it's going to take 25 with Logan as partner. He won't keep his fucking head down.
No.
And that's a bit of a disaster. But Gears 5 campaign, or just Gears 5 in general, I think the first thing, before we even talk about the game itself, I think this was one of the biggest piss poor marketing campaigns I've ever come across for a large franchise. I had almost zero interest going into this because they didn't show. They showed Escape at E3. They didn't show like a horde mode, like 10-minute video. I had no real idea what the campaign was. I was like, why am I? What is this? Yeah. And they were lucky that I've been sucked into that Game Pass and it was on there, because I wouldn't have bothered. I wouldn't if they said you have to buy it for 50, I wouldn't have bothered because I didn't know what I was getting in for.
I don't get like how Hall bought it for especially the Ultimate Edition was about 70 quid when you can get it for Game Pass. But yeah, no, I remember me and you talking about the E3 thing where fucking old Rod was sitting under the stage and just ever since then it was just like, what the fuck is going on? And then like the only bit of marketing they done on Xbox's Instagram page, they deleted all their pictures and then put like this sort of collage of Kate, and that was it. I haven't seen any sort of trailers on the telly or anything.
No, you didn't get a lot of cover. I don't know. I mean, maybe I think it's safe to say that we're both sort of campaign-based Gears players. We'll dabble in the multiplayer, but I guess the lifeblood of what Gears... You know, we talked about the service type thing is because they want people to stick around for the multiplayer. So perhaps that's why we didn't really pay much attention, because it wasn't focused on us. But you can't just throw away the campaign. I honestly if it wasn't on the Game Pass, it wouldn't have been bought or looked at this year. I would have got it maybe next year and gone, well, I can wait for that. Even though the reviews come out quite strong, I'd have been a bit like, well, I still don't understand what they're doing. But marketing campaign aside, it seems like when they say it's like the top game played on Xbox in like ages, and 3 million players and all that stuff. So the Game Pass system seems to have worked in that sense. But I saw that the sales had dropped like 25% from Gears 4.
Oh, really?
So that's a bit of a blow for them.
Yeah,
because people are just getting it on Game Pass. They're not buying it.
Yeah, I suppose. That's the thing.
Going through retail.
No, I wonder what's more beneficial for them as well. I suppose.
I don't know. Gears 5 sold 4 times less than Gears 4 in its opening week. That's in the UK only, but still, that's a pretty big drop off.
It is. Yeah, but on the flip side, you did see it was like the best, most played game on what's it called or something in the first weekend. So you never know, but
maybe they've got more players. Yeah,
half of that squad's done what we've done and paid £1.
Well, yeah, and I'm locked in for 3 years on that, so they're not going to get any more out of me. But that's the hand they played. That's what Phil gave us, and I went, all right, Phil, I'll take that, thank you. Woeful marketing aside, it seems like there's a lot of people playing it at least.
Yeah.
Reasonably strong reviews, which we may get to a bit later. But first thing I will say is just it's a bloody gorgeous game.
Oh, it's incredible.
It's silk on this Xbox. There's a few hitches now and again, but we're both playing it on Xbox One X. I haven't installed it on the PC because I thought there's no need. This looks bloody good as it is.
My poor old pup would be able to cope, but but it was no need. All right, you get a few more bells and whistles on PC, but when it's running at 4K 60 and looking this good, Unreal Engine 4, fucking incredible.
I didn't know it could look that good.
No, just the first scene where you're coming down off of a helicopter into a lush environment. You think of Gears of War and you think brown, blood, shithole. And this is just like, cool, Uncharted 4 levels of graphic fidelity.
Yeah, it does look bloody nice. And it runs smooth as silk, 60 frames, which is
because the
rarity.
Last one was it? Gears 4, when it had the 4K patch, it was multiplayer was 60, but the campaign was 30.
Was it? Interesting.
Yeah, so how they fucking pulled this out of the bag. And I think I watched a DF video and they confirmed it was native.
Cool.
And 60.
You got people mowing the grass ain't moving.
Yeah, I did see that.
So you can look as nice as you want, but if you aren't going to have the grass moving, you'll get hounded for it, Rod. So next time, consider that. Consider some physics in your game. Gorgeous visuals, which is beautiful. It is a great looking
and
game.
Also a big notable. I know it's been a big thing the last few years, but mouth animations.
Yeah.
Really good, and the voice acting fucking stellar. My boy Rahul Kohli, the new Fars, or I think is the new character. Yeah, the fella that plays him, he's sometimes on Funhouse. He's an actor. Yeah, but, really funny. But yeah, there's very good voice work from the bunch.
Do you know what? For some reason in my head, I thought Troy Baker played JD Phoenix because he sounded like him, but it's not him.
I don't know who it is, but
it's like the bloody Reddit of Dying Light, didn't we?
We thought that
was bloody, and we was like, yeah, it's definitely him. Looked it up. No, do you think some of these aspiring actors just try and sound like Troy Baker?
I did wonder that. Yeah, I think even in Borderlands they've got rid of a couple of them. They should just get someone in and go, right, do his voice, do an impressionist. Yeah. Like that, what's it called? There's so many in Marvel, it's hilarious. There's like one that literally sounds like Samuel. It's just someone doing the Samuel Jackson impression.
It's
hilarious. But no, back to Gears.
I absolutely love it. One negative before we get into sort of some of the detail, and this is something I think we both struggled with, was some technical issues in terms of checkpointing, black screens. I had a fight that I couldn't progress because the last enemy. I thought the last enemy didn't spawn, but I was watching a YouTube channel that I sometimes go back to, and he does like walkthroughs and stuff. And he doesn't really. He gives like some good strats out and stuff. But after I've played it, I'll just listen to his commentary. Sarah from 17, and he said actually he was talking about some of the problems, the technical issues, and I thought it was the enemy not spawning, but I think what happened was the enemy spawned in the wall somewhere.
Oh shit!
I couldn't find them, so I couldn't trigger the next campaign, because he goes in his walkthrough. There's a part in chapter 2 that he finds someone in the wall, and he says, "Look, I managed to find him, but you might not be lucky. You have to replay it." And I was like, Jesus.
I had that on Division 2 as well.
Oh,
exactly
bloody
the
hell,
same
don't tell me
thing.
that.
They're both of
that.
both at it.
Yeah.
The fucking just the restart checkpoints. Yeah, we both had that problem, didn't we? A few times.
Yeah, the biggest one for me was the checkpoint not. So what seemed to happen was it would get stuck saying it was saving in the bottom left.
Yeah.
And then I would go to the next encounter. Whenever the next cutscene was, it would just go black and wouldn't load the next sort of cutscene.
No.
So I'd have to restart.
Snarled up.
Yeah. And I'd reload the checkpoint, but it'd be about 3 checkpoints back. So I think one time I lost about half an hour in that open world, and I was like, bloody it. And I was getting really... I just was not prepared to experience... I've had that happen for ages in a game, like lost progress. And you had it a couple of times as well.
Yeah, I did, yeah. Do you remember that there's a bit where you go through a mine?
Yes.
And then beforehand, there's like an ice, like a big lake that's frozen over.
Yes.
Well, my...
no, that's a big fight.
Yeah, it was. I'd done that whole fight, but during the fight, my NPC that was with me fell through the ice. And then honestly, it took me about 20 minutes to do that fight, and it was so fucking hard. I got down so many times. It was on me Todd. And at the end, you open this door and go into an elevator.
Yes.
And it just wouldn't do anything because my NPC was still in the ice and he wouldn't come out.
So he didn't die. He just wouldn't.
No, he was just swimming, but he wouldn't get out. So I was just stuck there after this massive firefight, and it just wouldn't do anything. I just stuck. I was like, what is happening? So again, I had to do the checkpoint, and it went before the fight. I was like, for fuck's sake.
Something was not right. I mean, I had one where I think the first time you get to go on the skiff.
Oh, yeah.
There's quite a slow section leading up to that. You kind of wander around this little hut and then turn everything on. I think before that there may have even been a fight or a battle that I'd done. And then I actioned the skiff. It come down, went black, and never came back. And I had to restart, and I thought, that's all right. It'll put me back into the area where the skiff is, so it's only like 5 minutes.
Yeah.
But it didn't. It took me back 1 or 2 checkpoints. And I was like, fucking it. So I had to play the whole... chapter 2, you start off in the camp, don't you? The settlement camp.
That's it,
I did that whole last sort of battle bit where Kate gets taken over, and you do like the last sort of checkpoint. And that was like 10 minutes, and I was like, fucking hell. So I was not impressed with that. And that was in this... That was... I think I started playing the Friday it came out, because it was on Game Pass early, or if you had the Ultimate Edition. And then I went away for 5-6 days and came back, and there was a patch. And at that point, I was 3/4 of the way through chapter 2. And I'd experienced all this between chapter 1 and 3/4 of the way through chapter 2. Like 3 times, I think I lost progress. Patch downloaded, installed it, and then I didn't have it again after that. So I don't know whether the latest patch has resolved that. I don't know if you had any late game issues after that.
I didn't know. I've got to say, I leave my Xbox in instant on mode, so it does it on its own. And I don't know. I didn't know there was a patch then until you've just said. But I've got to say, towards the last sort of few chapters that I've done, acts. Sorry, I didn't seem to have any of these issues. But very much the same as you.
Yeah. So I think they fixed whatever it was, or unless it was just a problem with the opening 2 acts, I don't know. But they have made some changes to Gears 5. I mean, the DNA is still there, like the cover-based shooting, which still feel. I don't know. I didn't enjoy Gears 4 too much.
No,
I thought it was a bit.
Yeah.
I mean, at that point, I wasn't interested. That's why when the marketing came up for this, I was like, well, they're not even trying now. Let's have to go in the bin. And I found out it was on Game Pass, and I was like, well, I'm part of that, so I might as well play it. It's Gears. It won't be like a 20-hour campaign. I can crack it out in a couple of weeks tops.
Yeah. I enjoyed 4, but I didn't warm to the characters much. I thought they were quite bland, and just I didn't like. It was almost like the Biff's favourite episode 7, Star Wars. Where they're sort of the old blood are passing the torch to the new blood. And I sort of thought, I don't really like the new blood, so can we stick with Marcus and bring back
Get Baird back.
Yeah, get Baird back and Coltrane, and let's get the old gang back together.
Yeah, do the whole lot.
But yeah, it's like you say, the DNA is definitely still there. So then that leads us to 5.
No, yeah, and that gives us a few interesting things to talk about because they introduce Jack. Well, Jack gets reintroduced, which is like the little robot companion that was in the trilogy. I don't think he was in 4.
No.
And you start off with Dave, who's just like a standard robot. He gets wiped out, and then you get Jack. And the good thing about Jack is that he actually becomes a viable companion and like a support companion. So you can ask Jack to trigger, one of 2 abilities at any one time. So there's one that you can trigger that will flash an enemy behind cover and make them come out of it, so you can nail them. There's an electric shock trap. There's one where you can sort of take over and control a swarm or a locust enemy, so they're on your side for a certain amount of time.
Yeah.
And then you've got sort of smaller sort of buffs that you can put in, like Stim, which gives you armour and boost your health for a short while, cloaking, and there's a couple others I can't remember off the top of my head. But essentially you've got those options in there.
Yeah.
And go on.
I'd say it's just such a brilliant. I think it's a real good addition. The only thing is, it's just another fucking botherance you got to keep your eye on.
Yeah, he wasn't he didn't go down too much.
No, that's true.
But still, you got to worry about him.
Is really good. I found that, especially later on, you can sort of upgrade it and get a freeze flash.
Right.
So some of the big fuckers, if you could do that, you could drill them in the head, and that seemed to deplete their. Yeah. But yeah, I was a big fan of Jack, which is also I haven't tried it myself, but he is a playable character.
Yeah, so I don't know how
that would work.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to be very exciting, but yeah, I mean the good thing about Jack is he's not just there to use his abilities. Like you can throughout the environment, and we'll talk a little bit about the structure later on. But throughout the world, and when you progress, you can pick up components, and like they're basically points that you can spend to upgrade Jack's abilities and whatnot. So it offers like a sort of a light RPG mechanics for you to sort of build Jack how you want and focus on the abilities that best suit you. And the good thing about that is that it's not once you've put your spent your component on a skill, that's it. You can at any time you can respec him.
Yeah,
so it'll wipe down all those things. And so if you say for example you spec'd out Flash and then you realise actually I don't find that useful, I want to spec out the shock trap, you can respec him, there's no penalty for it, and then pump all your ability points into that. So I thought it was quite a player friendly way of doing it, because usually you're sort of, once you've made the decision, it's like nope, you won't be getting that changed again.
That is a good thing. Another really useful but useful thing that he does that I didn't realise at first was he can collect items that are on the battlefield, so you can stay behind cover, and if you see sort of like a grenade or ammo in the distance, you can send him, go off you go pup, get that for me.
Yeah, and he'll go off and pick it up and bring it over to you, so you don't have to run out of cover. Or even there's even like heavy weapons that are hidden on top of crates that you can't get to.
Yeah.
So if you look around and you see like a boomer shot, you wouldn't be able to get it, but if you just ask Jack to get it, he'll pick it up and drop it, which is great. Yeah, I think Jack was great.
Yeah, I think it's a very welcomed addition. I'd be interested to see if they keep that, if they do another one.
Oh, he got it.
But the fucking thing that annoyed me is that was part of the collectible system. I played that game. I was literally walking around the edge of each little area trying to find every nook and cranny. And I was in my head, I was like, I cannot have missed any fucking collectibles. I missed about 30.
Yeah.
I was livid. But because a lot of them are ones that are like you have to get Jack to go and get. So
yeah. It's not easy to get all those, but what I liked most about it is that it offered you another tool in your arsenal to combat whoever or take onto the battlefield. But rather than it being something like JD or Kate just having that ability or it being tied to the character, they made it works, doesn't it? It being Jack as a robot companion, all the skills, it kind of fits in the world. It doesn't break immersion, or you don't go, well, that wouldn't happen in this. It's like, no, that you can see how they could develop Jack that way, because they wouldn't have liked like JD being able to sort of just suddenly throw a shock trap out of his arm or something weird like that. But because it's Jack, they've offered a new way of, or like an additional way of playing without sort of breaking the law of it, which I thought was good.
No, it was very, and he never sort of fucking got in the way. I thought that's always a botherance with these sort of like NPCs that are always with you. You sort of think, oh, if he snarls me up in a doorway or gets in the way, but
Can't be trusted usually. But he was generally. Or sometimes he didn't do what I asked him.
no,
Particularly towards the end, like hijack is the skill that lets you. It doesn't let you control the character, but it basically puts them on you to say gets a locust or a swarmer and turns them against the enemies.
Yeah.
So the useful, if you can get a powerful one, like it can start wiping out all the fodder quite quickly for you, and then eventually it'll wear off. But there was a couple of times when I'd engage that, or I'd engage a shock trap or flat, and he didn't do it all the time, and I was like, come on, Jackie, come on, my son, don't let me down. 'Cause it gets intense sometimes. I was relying on that, but. Other than that, I think that's a welcome addition. It's not overly complicated. Yes, it means that you've then got to stress about collectibles and worry about missing stuff. I didn't get them all. It was, it wasn't easy to do. But
no, I tried to get a lot. I nearly maxed him out. I think I can even tell you my percentage. Yeah,
I missed one ultimate ability.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, because I'm on 85% of Jack's ultimate upgrades.
Because there was, by doing, and we'll get into like how the open world or the free roaming chapters or acts work, but in those areas there was like side or optional objectives, and usually at the end of those you would get, if you did 3 of a type of mission.
I thought I did them all, but I got running up to 85, and then his full passives, his abilities and passives, I've got up to 95%, so I was fucking livid.
Yeah, it's a bit of a pain, but I don't know what that last one is. I don't know if it's hidden somewhere or tied to.
Well, no, there's another trophy. I'm just looking at my trophies on there. There's another one that says complete all acts on the campaign.
Yeah,
and that's only at 66%, but we're completed the game.
This is what I'm talking about. That progress getting jammed up.
Yeah,
it's bollocksed up.
Hidden shit in there.
Bugged the achievement. Never better see it. One of the bigger changes to the actual structure is that there's now it's 4 acts in this. Act 1, quite a conventional Gears one, quite linear battles, mayhem. You know the score for that.
Yeah.
Act 2 and 3, they give you the skiff, which can either surf on snow or apparently on sand also, which is like I don't know how to describe it really. It's like it's like a kite. It's a kite. It's a wind-driven vehicle basically. So Kate holds up like a kite. What do they call that shit?
Wakeboarding. It's like wakeboarding, but with a sort of engineless
windsurfing, aren't you?
Windsurfing thing, yeah.
Yeah, we're bollocksing up how to describe it. Imagine a windsurfer, but on with a wakeboard, skiv, and it's attached to a vehicle that has no wheels still, but has like
a snowmobile without an engine.
We cocked it out. Look it up. Look up the skiff, and you'll know what I mean.
Yeah, I was going to say, what the fuck is it?
But in these areas, it's free roaming or open world, so you have an objective to go to, but there's like it's a reasonably big area to go out and explore, and you can take on or look for side quests or other optional objectives, and you can fly around in the skiff and whatnot. What did you make of this change up? Because it's half the game, and probably over half the game, because I felt like those 2 were the 2 longer acts out of the 4.
Yeah, I really liked it, to be honest. It really reminded me of God of War. We were just mentioning about changing the name to God of War. But yeah, it did really remind me of being, in God of War when you're on the rowboat and you're sort of going from place to place.
Yes.
And you're getting a little bit of lore in between. I thought it was a good area for that. Sort of, it slowed down the pace. Normally these sort of Gears of War games is very sort of linear. You're just going through the corridors and shooting your way out of the shit, and it's just boom, 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 boom. But this, as it sort of slowed down the sort of pacing of the story and that, and sort of let you go off on its own. And I sort of, my little completion brain started to kick in. I was like, right, I've got to complete everything in this area before I can progress with the next story mission.
Yeah.
So yeah, I thought it was a welcomed stay. Like I say, it was pretty good that the characters sort of built up more of a sort of relationship together where they were talking. It was quite interesting to see. How did you find it?
Yeah, no, I enjoyed it. I'm not sure I was overly thrilled with like half the game being like it. I kind of felt like I liked that it wasn't the whole game, put it that way.
Yeah.
Like if the whole game was like that, I think it would have worn thin, because I think one of the things that especially during Act 3, which is like the second open setting, it's in the desert, that one. And one thing about it, like you mentioned, like you get like a lush environment. Like the environments and the levels in this game are varied. Like it's all 4 acts have like a distinct look and feel to them. Even, areas within each act are different. Like you might be in a lab, then you'll be up on the snow again. Like I think it's great the way they've kind of taken, like as you mentioned, the grey mess and turned it into a bit more palatable.
And fucking kudos to the snow and the sand, the way it reacts and stuff. It was incredible.
Yeah, like you leave a wake when you walk through the sand or the snow, and it don't disappear. If you go back to it, it'll still be lurking there.
I've got to say, with them open things, there was a bit of a sort of barren wasteland. There wasn't really much other than what you had to do.
No, that was I mean, there was several like locations that had side stuff to do, or the main quest, and then between that and another one that was just sand or ice. There was no. But then again, I kind of appreciate that, because most games would jam in fucking skiff racing side quests, and bullshit that you're not interested in when there's a potential new queen lurking. You don't want to be spending time doing that.
Fucking Bloatfield.
Yeah, it weren't welcome. But I think one of the things that I liked that they tried it at least, and I wouldn't mind seeing it again. I think one of the things where I was a little bit not put off, but just wasn't like overwhelmed with joy of it, was that really, like you said, there wasn't a lot to do in between ones, and when you got there, like the Gears mechanics don't really support like an exploration or an open world or a free roam, because even the design of the levels, like there's windows that you can see through that you should be able to climb through, but you can't. There's sort of like waist high blockages that don't let you, so you can't really explore the world fully, because it's still a Gears game. It's still designed in that way. So I don't know how they would solve that, because you can't take away what Gears is, otherwise it ceases to be a Gears game. But it tried its hand at it, and it was a welcome distraction.
Yeah.
And roaring around in the skiff was awesome. I'd have liked if they'd done stuff like, I don't know, they could have added like another side quest where whoever's on that land who's giving out the task to you says, oh, by the way, there's some high value swarm targets we've located, go out and take them out.
Yeah, that would have been good.
And also things between, like you said, when you go between locations, maybe have just something random that could happen. Maybe there's a battle. Maybe there's skiff fighting. Like, because I think there's a great big gun on the skiff.
Yeah, well, that's what I was wondering.
You don't get shot at. It could be like a Mad Max like vehicle. That could have been put in.
Yeah, that could have been that. I'm surprised they didn't sort of have upgradable features on it, because you could store 2 guns on it, couldn't you?
Correct.
But that was it. I thought they might have done sort of an upgrade feature where it'd give it a shield or something. Well, I've got to say the handling was pretty good.
Yeah, I did enjoy like trying to tip it over. Like it'll go up on 2, not wheels, but 2, whatever you call those things, underneath a snowmobile, and it felt good to roar around in, which is the main thing really. But yeah, I think it's a little bit of a conflict of what Gears is, because it does slow things down a lot, but you do get those character moments where they talk, and I guess you kind of get some development during those points.
Yeah, and that's what I was saying with 4. I thought. I liked the gameplay, the moment-to-moment gameplay, but it was just I didn't warm to the characters enough, and didn't sort of get enough backstory. I didn't really know who these people were. Like, right, so Marcus has got a son. Okay, who the hell's this slag? And then you got Dell just sitting there in the background going, all right. So like this game, I felt that Dell sort of, you got to know who Dell was a bit more. Obviously, the game focuses on Kate, and JD sort of sat in the background this time, but it done a lot. Yeah, it sort of brought you a lot closer to the characters, I felt, and done them a bit of service.
Yeah, could have done with that in 4 when they were new, but I guess better late than never.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I mean, I'd like to see a return of this, maybe this expanded sort of open world or free roaming area. I don't want to see the whole game like it. 'Cause I still think Gears is at its best when you have those acts where you travel through, a facility, or you're outside, then you get in the facility and it's battle. You can still have the character moments. Maybe you just there's bits in interiors where you slow down and walk around and you can't sprint and they talk to one another, so you can still get those moments in.
Yeah.
But I'd still be open to having another sort of chapter like this. What about yourself? Would you like to see it come back?
Yeah,
have more of it or less of it?
I did like I said, I did like the open spaces, but I'm very much of opinion yourself that Gears is what Gears is. They've got that down to a T. They have. So I wouldn't want to ruin the DNA too much. Definitely, I wouldn't like to see it full open world, but it'd be interesting to see what their sort of reaction is to this. If the feedback's good, if they're going to keep this in or not. But it's definitely a nice welcome change that you've never had that in a Gears game. Give it a test. Fuck it, turn the next one into a fucking dungeon crawler.
Just what's required. One thing I was thinking about is that if you're playing as Dell, so if you're co-op, you can't do anything in those sections where you're driving around. You're literally just sitting there,
sat there doing fuck all. Yeah.
Obviously, as when it's solo, you're playing as Kate mostly for the game. You play as JD for the first act and Kate for the rest of it.
Weird, because in Gears 3 they turned the campaign into a 4-player. Then Gears 4 was only 2-player. Well, this one, Gears 5's 3-player co-op.
Get every number they can.
That's what I'm thinking. So now they're going to bring 4 back. They're saying that the reason they've done that is because they didn't want too much going on at one time. They wanted you to focus on the fucking characters. Well, I didn't fucking warm to them, so don't know who fucking did. Playing, give me 4-player.
Yeah. I mean, it's a free play. I haven't played as Jack, but I've got a feeling that'll be a bit of after a while when you realise you can't pop ahead with a torque bow. But I've got the short straw here.
Get that Batista in on a fucking plastic.
Yeah, chuck him in there.
That'd be brilliant.
Yeah, one other thing they've changed is how the melee system works. Because previously, if I remember correctly, you could club them with the weapon. Each weapon had its own sort of melee animation. Well, now you hit B and it pulls out a little piss poor knife. It don't do hardly any damage. You got a knife of about 8 times.
Was that melee in what's it called? In 4, was it, with B? Because I fucking always go for clicking the right stick, and I was like, right, what's happening here then?
Oh, I don't. Well, the other thing they changed was that they moved the Lancer.
That's
rev button, because that was
that was B.
That was definitely B. Yeah, you could. Yeah. And I thought each weapon that was like its melee basically, it was that, but they moved this to the right bumper, which is also the active reload. So there was a couple of times early on I was fucking blowing my active reload trying to light the Lancer up, and I was like, why have you changed that?
Yeah,
because the piss poor knife hasn't made melee any better, it's made it worse.
That's right. Yeah, I think it was to do with them executions, because they've tried to stick them in there.
Yeah, they've always been there though, those executions.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah,
it's not. You
can mantle a bit of vaulting and knit him and then do it. Yeah. But yeah, no, that is a piss poor, that melee.
Yeah, they've gone down the shit pan, and moving the Lancer rev to active reload button is a no-no. But you mentioned one of the coolest things earlier on, which isn't in the game enough, but it can only really work in the sort of snow setting. And there is a mechanic where on ice you can shoot the ice from beneath an enemy; they'll fall through and die.
That was brilliant.
Yeah, like there's there's probably a handful of battles you can do it on, and it's just even like big enemies, like big
that's what I was doing. Big fucks.
You can just drop the ice out from underneath them; they will fall through and die, and then after like 30 seconds, the ice will reform, and you can keep doing it. It's just a really cool way to sort of change your tactics and give you another way of taking on some of these bastards, because they can get overwhelming at times.
Yeah, they really can. Yeah, I found that there was also quite a lot of sort of environmental hazards that you could, like, there was, I think on one of that thing, there's like a big train hanging off the side of a bridge and stuff, and you could shoot that down and that will just destroy the fucking ice, but it froze over quite quick.
Yeah.
It was like, cool. And I quite like that they implemented that into a boss battle as well, which is quite fun to do. But yeah, it's another one of those sort of added little... I don't know what the word is, sort of almost like a sort of set piece, but not.
Yeah, it just gives you more options, doesn't it? Like rather than just sitting behind cover and chipping away.
Yeah,
you've got that option. You've got the long range weapons. You've got the environmental stuff like the ice breaking or the.
I suppose you had four. You had, was it the storms you had?
That kicked in. That was right at the end of the game though. That was like, that was like in the last act or something. But that was useful as well. But I think in this one they give you the normal options like the ice and the environmental stuff, as well as having Jack. Just gives you a bit more variety in your arsenal.
Yeah, a bit more variety. That's it. Yeah, and I suppose that's what they've got to aim for. The new game, they've got to try and, they're obviously trying to get the new people in to sort of get them up. But us veteran fans, we do need something to suckle on.
Exactly, absolutely. Anything on the gameplay front or structure before we get into story-based elements of Gears 5?
I think there wasn't. I'm trying to think. I felt like there was one, but I remember Gears 4 had a really good sort of like escape sort of set pieces. Where I remember it was like where you're following like a helicopter being chased by a helicopter.
You're on
motorbikes. They didn't have one of those really. No.
There's a couple ways of building like braking. You have to sort of roadie run out, but it's not very. You're never really under threat.
No. So I felt like it needed that. There was a few decent set pieces. It did just feel quite AAA in itself, the whole game, to be fair.
Oh, yeah. But it's highly polished in that respect. What did you think of the Matriarch boss battle, where it's basically a berserker? That's what I thought. I thought it was very... There's a few of these boss battles that I was a bit like, it's cool, but I thought, hang on, we've done this before. This one can jump on you though and really one-hit you if you're not careful.
Yeah, it is. I did die quite a few times with that fucker.
The idea of that one is it can one-shot you, but it's to use the ice or the cryo, because you can shoot the ice from beneath that and then it freezes over and exposes the weak point which is on its back. So it's a bit of a rinse and repeat.
Yeah,
I thought it was a decent. I died a few times. I thought that felt like a bit of a good challenge. But the one thing that really fucked me off, and this sort of plays into the story, is that 2 or 3 times during the battle, Kate would start, like, if you're playing Kate, I don't know if it happens if you're playing as Dell, but Kate starts having like her vision starts going red, and the fucker's still running around trying to get you. You can't see nothing. I was like, why is it?
Yeah, I thought that. And if he touches you, like say, it's fucking you're brown bread.
Yeah. I imagine that on Insane, where it's like one shot.
I don't know how that's going to be, but it did remind me. I don't know if the lore was in there, that it was taken from the old, what's it called, the Berserker, because he was scary in the first game. Shit, you
only Hammer of Dawn it, I think.
Yeah,
you got outside. Remember, you have to like break out of the tomb or something. You have to use the Berserker to break the door, and then you get outside, and you can turn the Hammer of Dawn online.
Yeah, didn't have. They just got a fucking Nasher.
Yeah, I'll be honest. I'm not really understanding what the creatures are now.
No, I thought that. Well, in some of the lore, they were talking about locusts. I was like, right, so that's the original. It's all to do with that emulsion. I was trying to watch like a lore earlier, like a timeline, and it's sort of crossbred now, and now they're called the Swarm, and I'm like, they're locusts.
The Swarm were generated because whatever they did in Gears 3 didn't kill them. It's just hibernate basically, and
it's pretty much the Gears of War formula is to the whole game. You're just trying to get to this point where you're going to wipe everything out, and it doesn't work, and then there's a new game.
That's pretty much it, really.
So all these new Locust and Swarm are just failed attempts at all the other games.
Yeah. There's 2 encounters with the Kraken. What did you make of that as a boss battle, where it fires out tongues and whatnot, and you got to shoot the tongues? And
I thought it was a good boss battle, but it should have been the boss battle for that. They should have only had one. I didn't like that. That was a second time. I thought it was a bit.
I knew it was coming back. I knew it was coming back because when you get rid of it the first time in Act 3, an achievement popped.
Right.
And it said, you survived the Kraken encounter. And I was like, well, I ain't dead then, is it?
Well, there was like a sort of cutscene at the end of it, and then it looked like someone was watching.
Yeah.
And I thought that was going to be like a fucking, I don't know, General Ram's back, wasn't it?
Get ram, swarm ram, see what he's up to.
So, yeah, I wasn't expecting that at all, but I thought it was quite a good. That was a bit of a quite a nice set piece as that sort of building's crumbling down around you.
Yeah.
But yeah, I did like the boss battle. I thought it was quite fun, sort of traversing around that building, shooting the holes.
Yeah.
Then the sort of bit where he gets down to your mouth. I thought I was going to go inside him. I thought that would have been quite fun.
Cut out from the inside. That would have been good.
Like that fucking big fucker did.
Yeah.
3 was it that did that?
That's it. Brutalised him.
And then, then to see it come back, I was a bit like,
it wasn't much of a surprise, was it? Because that's the final boss as well. Is the Kraken like a second version of him? I don't think it does anything different other than. I don't think it does, is it? It's just a little bit more of a squashed environment, and there's
wrecks the shit out of you.
Yeah, it's not ideal, but that leads us sort of into the story elements.
Yeah,
and this is very much Kate's story, who I didn't really remember too much about from Gears 4, but then I didn't find the whole game that memorable, and I was a bit surprised to see that she was sort of the main character, because, like I said, you play as JD for the first act, but acts 2, 3 and 4, you're with Kate, and JD doesn't come back until act 3 and 4.
Well, this is another, going back to your marketing campaign. When they were marketing, they were showing you JD as he is in the second portion of the game, so he's shaved his head, and that's it, all scarred up, he's lost his arm. And then, booting up the game and you're playing as JD and he's the same as what he was in 4. I was like, what? Hang on a minute, what's going on here?
That's not what I signed up for.
No. But yes.
This is sort of about Kate's links to the Swarms. It turns out grandmother was the original Locust Queen. Is it Mira? I think it's Mira.
That's it, yeah.
And then her mum's Raina, I think. Yeah. And I think in 4 you find her in like one of those swarm nests. And she has to like kill her.
That's it.
But
gives her a little necklace, doesn't she? That was grandmother's. Yeah. Turns it over and goes, "Fucking hell,
fucking Locust." But it turns out that old Raina didn't die either, and she's the Locust Queen now. And Kate goes back to the lab, like Niles' lab, where they talk about the experiments they did to sort of. I think they created the Locust now. It sounds like they've.
Yeah, it was something to do with
emotion poisoning and.
Yeah, there was emotion poisoning, and there was this one girl that didn't react to it.
That's it. Which happened to be Mira, wasn't it?
Mira. And then it was something to do with fertility as well, because. I remember thinking that, like, what the fuck's going on there? That like they couldn't have babies. Marcus's girlfriend had a baby, and then the owner of DB Industries is pregnant. So they tested it on this Raina, and then she had Mira had thing. But it was sort of like, again, it's sort of all that lore. You're like, yep, and then all these. Walking through that lab, you're like, I know all these cunts are coming out and killing me.
They're all in the tubes, and they do come out. But I think there was that kind of lost me that part of the story. I mean, I understood that it's Kate's mum now that it's not dead, and that Kate was somehow tied to the Swarm because she's genetically part of that bloodline. So that kind of made sense. And then I didn't really get. They sort of sever a connection with it, don't they?
That's it, yeah. So they put her into a machine, almost like a sort of lobotomy, isn't it?
Yeah.
And she sort of sees a vision in that sort of vision.
Sees Mama still alive.
Sees Mama still alive, and she's like, right, well. And then after that, the sort of, because the whole time up until that point, she's having like these headaches.
Yeah.
She has these like dark thoughts, and you can see the Locust. And to the one point where she even kills her own family member. Yeah,
because at one point, during she's having like these
almost like seizures
episodes or whatever you want to call them, where she can like see a lot of like vivid visions of the Swarm and whatnot. And then at the end of, or the start of Act 2 rather, she gets captured by what are those things called that grab you and put them in their bellies?
Oh, Snatcher. The Snatcher.
Yeah, gets captured by one of those, and while she's inside the Snatcher, it physically links her to controlling a swarm, like some of the Swarm enemies that are in the base attacking, like
which you play as.
Which you play as, yeah. I didn't know if I was supposed to shoot the humans or the Locusts.
I thought that I was trying to just shoot the Locusts.
Yeah, I didn't know that was part of the plan, but eventually it gives you over to like a heavy, and then the game takes over, and that's who ends up killing her uncle. So technically, Kate killed her uncle while she was possessed or taken over this large bastard. and that thought kind of stays with her. But once the lobotomy part happens, she doesn't get those headaches anymore. Although she does, conveniently, when you fight the matriarch, they're still there.
Oh, yeah.
They're not just to be a pain in the arse, and after that they disappear, so that's a bit of convenience. But so at this point I was thinking, right, so the game's going to be us hunting down Rhaena, like the Swarm Queen now, I guess, and putting her out of commission.
Yeah,
and
that is essentially what it is, isn't it? But no,
we don't get that. You don't get to that because it just ends after we save the city from the Kraken, which I was a bit surprised at. I was a bit like, oh, is that the ending?
Yeah, and this is again going back to my thing that these Gears of War games are all, they have a mission, they go and do it, and then it doesn't work. Yeah. Well, this is she has this mission, right, I need to kill Rhaena. I think, right, how are we going to do this? She's quite right, we're going to need to get the Hammer of Dawn.
Yeah.
So the rest of the game, your sort of mission is to send the satellites up to get the Hammer of Dawn. They eventually do that, and then it fucks up. So they go straight back to square zero again.
I still thought after that Hammer of Dawn bit was finished, like then was going to go and track down the Locust, but no, that's been saved for Gears 6, I guess. Or is it going to be a trilogy from here onwards, or is this part of this new trilogy? I don't know what they're going to do. Yeah,
I don't know if I'm just getting mixed up with Star Wars now, but I did have in my head that it was always going to be a trilogy. But
4, 5, and 6. Yeah, I mean,
maybe. Is this next game going to be all about Del?
Well, it might not be about Del because there is something that's uncanny during the back end of the campaign where you actually get to make decisions in Gears of War, like do you want to go on the left or the right hand side when you get split up, and that's like their version of Mass Effect. They're the sort of hard hitting decisions that Gears of War can offer. But in Gears 5, it gives you one opportunity to make one very, very important decision. Old Swarm Queen comes down, grabs both JD Phoenix and the good boy Del, and you as Kate have to choose which one of those two you save. And it's not a cop out. If you choose to save one of them, the other one dies. So either JD or Del has to die, and you have to make that choice as Kate. Now, we both chose Del.
Yeah,
we saved Del. Marcus Phoenix's son is dead, so the bloodline of the Phoenix family flushed away to save Del. What did you make of this decision and the aftermath of it as well? Because I felt they'd done... Yeah. I liked it, and then I liked how they were responsive afterwards. It felt like a big moment. I was like, whoa.
Yeah, it really did. And
I wasn't expecting that at all.
Took me by surprise. I'm so glad no one even mentioned it. You know, in the reviews, people say, oh, yeah, it's a real... You know, you come across this
point... It's a real gut-wrencher at the end. What you've got to make it... You're like, oh, for
fuck's sake. I didn't have no clue that this was going to happen at all. And it really did surprise me. I was like, fuck. I think I even paused it and sort of sat there and thought about it for a second. I was like... Oh, fuck. And again, like you, I thought, oh, well, if I choose one of them, for me, I thought, well, Del is probably the most expendable here. But poor old chap, he's got no relation to Marcus. No one's going to care if he goes.
Yeah.
So I thought, much like you, that you'll choose one of them and it will automatically refer to the other. But and I thought, no, I'll tell you what, Del's been really nice this game. Yeah. JD's a bit of a douchebag and I don't like him, so he's dead. And then, like you say, after the aftermath, you're like, fucking hell, no, she really did snap his neck.
Yeah. Brutally. Poor old, in both of ours anyway, JD's neck, and just sort of tosses his body aside. Kate distraught. Del's distraught. Livid. He's livid and just because they were best mates. I think they were just getting back on good terms. But I was just like, whoa. That was not in the script for my idea of what happens in Gears 5, but I was impressed by its execution and the aftermath of it and make it feel like a proper moment.
Yeah, it really does. And then, straight after fucking that, then they pretend to kill fucking Cole.
When that happens, the Kraken picks up Cole and he's in that big mech that you don't get to play in. One of the coolest things about Gears 4 is not back. The big mech you do not get to play. You just see Coltrane rolling around in it. That picks him up and snaps it in half. And Phoenix just shouts, "No!" At that point, I thought, fucking hell, I've just had his son killed and he doesn't know about that. And now poor Coltrane has just been ripped in half. This is going to be a disaster for him.
He'll fucking do himself in, poor cunt.
Coltrane does survive. The three amigos are still lurking, Baird, Coltrane and Marcus. But that great moment.
The end bit, which again, fucking back to this silly marketing a bit. One trailer I did see was literally the last cutscene of the game.
Oh, was it?
Sort of like where Kate's looking out into the sort of, the rundown city or whatever it is.
Yeah.
I was like, well, cool, why have they stuck that in the fucking in the trailer?
Do that.
But yeah, the sort of emotional impact of him sort of coming out of where he's been and sort of says, "Oh, where's JD?" And yeah, it was quite a bit of a little tug on the heartstring. Not sort of Green Book levels of tears in the eyes, but for a Gears of War game,
yeah,
it was just interesting because you've never really seen Marcus emotional. He doesn't start crying or anything.
Yeah, he doesn't. He's seen more emotional when Cole got ripped in half.
He did. Yeah,
squawked.
He sort of thought, "Oh, fucking James, you bastard."
The interesting thing about that is that it's not something that Gears normally do, but I'd love to see the stats of how many people save Dell over JD. I think most people save Dell because one of the things they do to JD in this particular, I don't think they quite do it right. They do enough of it so that you know that he's done some bad stuff. But essentially, JD comes off as a little bit of a knob in this one.
Yeah.
In Gears 4, he was your main character, and I think most people just didn't like him, even though he was supposed to. But in this one, they give you reasons sort of not to like him. He's almost like he acts like a young Marcus, and he's a bit rash. And in the first act, he orders the Hammer of Dawn to be fired, and it initially works, but it ends up going out of control because the satellites aren't synced up, and it ends up blowing up a bus full of COG and allies. So he's responsible for that and whatnot. And then there's like a background story that you don't see. You only hear the characters talking about in cutscenes, and sometimes when you're walking around with them. Where there was, I think, it's Fars and JD and probably a few other cogs went to visit like an outside settlement. And I think they were trying to recruit them to join the cog so that they can, help strengthen their army. But there was a protest going on.
That's it.
And they essentially winded up shooting on the protesters who were, as far as I know, unarmed. And it
says that they were throwing
fucking bricks or something.
Yeah, throwing what they call Molotovs at them.
That's cool. To be fair, if someone threw a Molotov at me with a gun, I might be inclined to cut them down as well. But it turns out JD ordered that particular shooting. So I wish I'd done a little bit more of that because it was just sort of mentioned and not really brought up too much. And I felt like there was more room to explore that, or maybe see it as a flashback or something.
Yeah.
I'd like to have seen that moment, or even maybe played it at the beginning. Like that could have been the opening.
There was another thing as well. Again, because I didn't play. Did you play that Judgment, the game?
I did play Judgment, yeah.
I didn't realise that Russian chap character.
He's in that.
He was in that, yeah.
I didn't remember him either.
Yeah, apparently he was one of the characters in that. So Rod digging out the old archives,
getting what he can out of it. No Dom though, because he's still blown up. But I think because of that whole JD situation, there's an interaction him and Kate have quite early on, where JD's a little bit. He's some reason he's not happy with Kate because he feels like he doesn't get on with Marcus, does he, at this point? Because he doesn't feel like he's looked after him or whatever, and he's kind of like trying to get out of his shadow, I guess.
Yeah.
In turn, it ends up acting exactly like him for much of the game.
Yeah, and Marcus seems to sort of father Kate more than Kate.
Well, he said there's this funny like quote or comment where he goes, "Oh, Kate says something like he doesn't care for you or whatever to JD, and JD's like, oh, you would know." And I thought, has he fucked her? But no, I think it's just that he's been kinder to Kate, I guess.
He's absolutely ruined it.
Take it into his own hands, old Marcus. Because we find out Anya's dead as well. I don't know if she was dead in Gears 4, but that was
I can't remember.
Marcus's wife.
But she was. I've got a feeling she was dead.
Yeah, but that's that. But yeah, so it's there's a lot more character stuff here than there was in 4.
Yeah, I felt this one, definitely warmed me to more. Like I say, I felt like I say, in 4, Dell sort of was just another character in the background. Didn't really think of an interest, but this character sort of showed a bit of his personality, and he came across quite funny in times.
Yeah.
Kate, you sort of warmed to a bit more with a little struggle.
Yeah.
JD, like you say, became the knob, so that's why he died. And it was. But even when he did die, I felt that much attached more. That the decision was a lot tougher to sort of make.
It's a decision you made as well.
Yeah, that's it. So it's on me.
It's your fault that Marcus has now got no one left in his family.
No.
So the guy that you've been playing with for near on 13 years, you've just turned your back on him and killed his only son.
Yeah.
Wife's dead.
Exactly, really fucking
best friend's dead.
Yeah, he is just just Six is just him fucking on heroin. Just like, what is the point of this anymore?
He's on the opium.
He's on the opium. But yeah, overall I enjoyed the story. Again, it's Gears of War that fucking the big backtrack of it doesn't work. So when you look at it as a whole, it's a bit of a cop out. But I thought it was quite a strong character based story this time.
Yeah, better than 4 certainly.
Yeah, certainly better than 4. Yeah. Again, we got that open ending, so we're like, right, what's happening now?
Yeah, I'm guessing we're going to take down the Locust or the Swarm Queen now. That's going to be the next one.
But I really want to see. I really hope that they make this big decision. I hope they make this and stand
carry it through.
So yeah, carry it through. So either through your game save or, I just hope that there isn't one canon.
Yeah. My assumption is that they'll kick off the next game and it'll say, "Did you kill Dell or JD?" You'll make that decision, then it'll just play as though that's happened. That's what they sort of do in. You can do that in Wolfenstein. There's a decision you make at the start of that, and then you can kind of when you play the second one, you can choose which one you did. So I think that's how they'll do it. If they don't do that, and it turns out that there is a canon one and it's not the one we chose, that'll be a bit of a stinker for us.
Yeah,
I'm tempted to go back and redo it and have Dell put down just to see what the change in characters are, because obviously Marcus won't react as heavily because it's not really his son.
I cheated and watched it on YouTube.
Oh, okay, go on then. Spill the beans.
But yeah, I would like to. It's good. It's pretty much carbon copy the instant reaction, but it's when the meeting altercation with Marcus is obviously different.
He laughs. He goes.
I didn't even laugh.
Son's still alive.
Yeah. So that reaction's a bit different, and also Fars, who became quite pally with Dell up there. That little thing about saving each other, didn't they? A few times.
Yeah.
He's on the back of the train and he sort of has a little moment to sort of remember his poor loved one that's gone now.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it's not really much different. Even like I say, even the next portion of them, Kate and JD dealing with it after is word for word the same. They've just used it exactly the same. But yeah, there is a couple of cutscenes that differ. But yeah, I did think, I ain't playing all through that again, just to get that out of a bit. But I probably will want to one day.
Yeah, I don't think there's any achievement tied to it.
No, it wasn't.
I don't think I got a pop for that.
Or maybe that's what that is. That completing the campaign.
Maybe it is. Maybe there is one for doing both eventually. There's not one. I don't think there's one for each anyway.
No, it certainly didn't get a trophy for doing it. I don't think. But
I'm going to play my favourite part of the whole campaign here, and it's they're in a room and they're talking about how to launch the Hammer of Dawn and what targets, and it's a little interaction between Fars and Phoenix. So there's a little bit of babble whilst I play it, but this is my favourite.
Nice demo, Barrett, but is it going to work? Well, for that, we're going to need a test fire. Forget test fires. We need an actual target. If we're selecting target, shouldn't someone with real military authority be it? It's Foz, right? Yeah, I guess so. Shut the fuck up, Foz.
Really put him down.
It's my favourite quote of the game. Just classic really Marcus.
I thought he was a really good character, Vars. He was so unlikable, but he's sort of like that anti.
Yeah, he kind of grows on you towards the end because you spend a lot of Act 3 with him, don't you?
Yeah,
JD?
he comes back free. Yeah,
he kind of come back and he's a bit more likeable. Then he can handle himself.
Yeah.
At the start, you think, oh, he's a bit of a knobhead to start with, but
yeah,
there you go.
There was also, but yeah, I really do like the voice actor as well. I follow him on Twitter and stuff. I also noticed, you know, that who's that girl that was in IGN who works for Funhouse? She's in the game as well. It's like an NPC.
Okay. Loving Life, Funhouse.
How's it? I forget her fucking name now. Alana Pierce. That's it.
Yeah.
She's in it somewhere. But yeah, no, he's a good character. I hope they bring that on. Also, forgot to mention a really good set piece in the game was the theatre.
Oh yeah,
that was really cool. So it's like a bit of a boss battle. Yeah, you go through this like abandoned theatre, and there's all sort of like people. There's supposed to be civilians in there, and you work your way through the dark and through the dressing rooms, and you get to the stage, and it's all the curtains down, and you're sort of saying, "Oh, they must have left," and then you turn the lights on, and the theatre comes up, and there's all these dead bodies in the sea, and it's bastard in the middle of the thing, and it's apparently I didn't get the reference, but it's in reference to a play called Hamilton, I think it's called.
Oh yeah. Nice.
Get that, but yeah, so you've got the boss battle spinning around to the most Gears of War music ever. It's like some sort of jazz. I don't know what it is, some sort of jazz opera things. It's hilarious. But yeah, it was like a real funny, cool, different take on a boss battle.
Yeah, it's some good moments in this for sure. I mean, it's getting on to sort of final thoughts. I think it's a big improvement on 4.
Yeah,
because after 4, I was like not interested. Like I said, if it wasn't for the Game Pass, it being on that, I wouldn't bother playing it this year. I don't think I would just.
I've got to say, with what's come out recently, probably it would have been a buy later.
Yeah.
Well, but yeah, Gears. I've always enjoyed the Gears games, but I've never been that too hardcore that I sort of go through the campaign. They're always sort of quite relatively short, which is in my good books these days because of time. But yeah, I'm not one that would replay through the story. I don't think I've ever redone it. I think I started to do one on Insane once, but I don't have the time anymore to go through these multiple times. No,
I've done the original trilogy on Insane.
Did you?
Yeah, I think I've done Gears of War Ultimate with Biff on Insane not long ago, but we did all 3 of the first ones together on Insane, apart from the final boss in 3 because it was too hard. We had to do that individually on Insane.
Oh, really?
It was easy with one person because there was less chance of someone going down and costing. So we did that individually, but could never do it together. We always said we'd go back and do it, but I don't think we would.
Get them Xbox 360s. I know it's backwards compatible.
All backwards compatible now. You can play through the whole saga.
Cool. I'll give my Judgment a go as well.
Absolutely. It's the biggest compliment I can give Gears 5 is that I'm interested in what Gear 6 is now.
Yeah.
I can't say the same as when 4 to 5 I was a bit like, this might be, they're on the downward slope here, but they've kind of recovered it, and I'm like, okay, now let's see what you can do, Rod.
5 was the Last Jedi. No, 4, sorry, was the Last Jedi. Now we're looking forward to some more J.J. Abrams magic.
Get back to it.
But very much a similar sort of thing. Like I say, this really did draw me in with the characters. Definitely could be one of the best looking games on Xbox.
Oh yeah,
just overly amazed by how polished this game was. Bar the hiccups in technical faults, in terms of frame rate. It was pretty solid throughout. The odd hiccup now and again, but nothing like. Nothing worth mentioning. Certainly wasn't game breaking. So yeah, it's pretty much thumbs up all round from me. But yeah, it's one of those games that now I've done it, I'll probably have a little dabble in Horde mode, try these new modes.
Yeah.
And that'll be it. I'll get 15 hours out and we move on.
Yeah, exactly. I want to see, because of what happened at the end where the Swarm Queen Reyna kills, makes you kind of choose between one of the two characters. I want to see and get after this fucker now.
Yeah.
It's kind of giving me a hook, whereas there was no hook in 4 at the end of 4 anyway. So I want to get to put some fucking vengeance on that fuck.
Yeah, definitely. I really like that. I wish that was my original thought, but I went on to sort of the old vile the old bile factory after, just to see what people's reaction were. And the first comment was, "Doesn't Jack have a blinding thing? Why don't he just blind Rainer and they drop both?"
Maybe that was an option and we didn't see it.
Yeah.
That's where the achievement is.
It's like, cool, he's sitting there in the background just hovering, watching you make this decision, going, go on, girl, pick one.
Pick one. See what she picks. Yeah. But what would you? I mean, this won't be an official score. We won't, because we've not played the rest of the game. But what would you give the campaign out of a 10? Jobby, sort of light-hearted, unofficial. I know what I'll give it, and it's been punished for the progress being lost. If
we didn't have these technical hitches, and for me, if the final boss battle was something different, I think this would have been a 9 out of 10 game. But because of that, just a little bit of a hiccup, and it annoyed me a bit. I have to give it an 8 in my personal opinion for the campaign.
The campaign gets an 8. I'm gonna go with a 7.
Cool.
Just because I remember being so frustrated with the checkpointing, not saving and redoing stuff, because there were long segments as well, and I was like, what is going on with this? And I hadn't, like I said, I've not come across that in a game for a long, long time. I just didn't.
No, and it's funny that it's happened to the pair of us. Normally one person would get it, and you'd be like, no, I've not had nothing like that. But for us both to have issues, it'd be interesting to hear if Hall. Well, I suppose probably won't now because he's left it late. But
anyone still fucking slugging through it on insane. But I mean, without those technical hiccups, it's an easy 8.
Yeah,
but we may well.
That boss battle annoyed me though. Wanted something different, a bit of variety.
Chucked it.
But Rod, very good, valiant effort. And in terms of technical thing, in terms of graphic fidelity, that was a 10 on 10.
It's a great looking game, and we'll see if Hall can get through the campaign and put some decent time into the multiplayer, and we'll be back maybe with a review on that, and a formal one to review all modes. I think you gave Gears 4 a 7, so
with ours will be a 7.5 between the two of us. Can it get boosted up with the multiplayer?
It probably can go down the drain if it's not careful. Oh dear. And that draws a close to the first ever Game Club podcast. So these are going to be infrequent podcasts where we, in a little bit more of a casual sense, talk about games that we haven't necessarily clocked or completed to review, but are playing or are midway through playing. So you might see a few more of these. Well, there are a few more. I've actually cut this particular recording in half because the Gears sort of campaign look back deep dive took over an hour, so you will get the second part of Adkins and I's conversation when we talk about Astral Chain, we talk a little bit about Hitman 2, Kingdom Come Deliverance, Borderlands 3, so that'll be coming in a couple of weeks time. Not next week, simply because there's also a recording I did a few weeks ago with Mr. Biff who's claiming to be the most popular member of the team now that the Days Gone review hit the highest views on YouTube for the year. But so we'll be back with Biff. We'll be talking a few games with him as well, Assassin's Creed Odyssey, amongst others. So we will get his insight into a few games that he's been playing and then binned. He's the chief binner of the group, who will drop games like a bad habit, even if he's a couple of minutes away from finishing it in some cases. So that'll be next week, and then the following week we'll pick up again with Adkins, and we'll see if we've got any more of these. There's still lots of reviews also that have been lined up in the pipeline. So as usual, if you want to hear our thoughts, our babble, our nonsense, you subscribe to us on any good podcast outlet. We recommend Player FM. Has us on there. It has lots of other podcasts as well, so give them a try. It's free. There's a premium edition as well, which has some great features. I'm going to draw this to a close though, because my phone keeps vibrating. It's probably Adcock trying to contact me to arrange a review about Celeste, so we'll see how that goes. Anyway, thanks for your time, and ta-da.